let's focus on their opponents in this game, West Ham, who again endured like a nightmare first half against them. They just they felt like they were anonymous throughout that first half. The defensive players were just letting the Chelsea players, pass through them, pass around them. There was barely any running. There was jogging for the most part from a lot of the players, all of them including the midfield players. They didn't run those extra kilometres. I don't know if it's because they've got nothing left to play for this season, or whether they've just had enough of the instructions they've been given. But David Moyes was so frustrated on the touchline. You could see the anger coming out of him, saying, "You're not doing your jobs." And I think in his post-match, he was saying that. That's even more worrying, I think, for Moyes, that the players are actually... He's telling them, these are your instructions, and you're not carrying them out. When the players stop carrying out the manager's instructions, that's kind of the writing on the wall, usually, for a manager, isn't it? Are you worried for David Moyes? Because that West Ham team on paper is pretty good, isn't it?
It looks like, 99% certain that they're going to replace the manager, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
It's such a shame, though. And Moyes even
Yeah.
said that managers are having their futures decided after a few games of poor performance, and then the fans turn on them. There's no other role in any other job in any walk of life where that would be the case. So mentally, that's difficult for managers to contend with. But they didn't get it wrong tactically necessarily in this game. I just think they didn't show up. That's on the players for me.
There's not been many teams in this league that have frustrated me more than like being a United fan watching United.
Yeah,
You don't know what you're going to get at all. But I think that's the same with West Ham.
yeah, it is.
You watch them sometimes, they can take teams apart with some of the players they've got. But they've equally, really responsible with, getting these sort of performances as well, having these sort of performances as well, and falling apart. You look at how they fell apart against Arsenal earlier in,
Yeah,
a
all
few
the
weeks
London
ago.
derbies, I think they've shipped about 5, 6 goals in most of the games against London opponents as well, which is a mad statistic. But again, when they collapse big
Was it?
time, don't they?
Yeah, was it Palace? Was it last week or the week before?
Yeah, been a few 5-0s. I think there's 6-0 in there as well. So yeah, when they collapse, they do just kind of down tools, it feels like, and
And
let
I
it
think
happen to them.
absolutely. I think the main thing for me is that the club has now shown a lot of ambition. Obviously, they got rid of Rice for big money in the summer. They've reinvested that money into some top players. Obviously Kudus, Paquetá, Alvarez, who is a great
Yeah,
player as well. They're finally showing this sort of ambition, I think, and looking to climb up the table and obviously compete for these European places. Even potentially, aspire to get into those top four, because we say about obviously Villa and how we couldn't see that coming. There's no reason why West Ham
yeah,
couldn't get to that level with some of the profile, the players that they have. And I think fans have finally got fed up that they feel as though the coach, the manager, doesn't match the ambition that's been spent, the money that's been spent on the actual team, the first team, the squad, and he doesn't suit the kind of brand of football that they want to see.
yeah,
You can see what I do feel a bit bad for him, because I think he's done a good job. You look at obviously last season how that ended. It was a real, we felt like that was the end of the road for him. It would have been a good time to obviously see an end to his tenure at the club, but I do feel bad because I don't actually think he's done that bad a job, to be honest.
no,
I think there has been some,
no,
but you've also got to question that team as well. You've got to question the mentality of the players. You can't obviously just take your foot off the pedal because you feel like the season's petered out and the manager's going to change, because
yeah.
that's just not acceptable.
It's a shocking mentality, isn't it? I think that's one thing that the next coach, because there probably will be a change of coach, I think, for West Ham in the summer, they need to consider that attitude and whether that's something they want in their squad as well, because I can't even pinpoint any players in particular that appear to have down tools. It felt like it was a collective team. I can't be bothered today. Like, I don't want to play today. It was literally a feeling of I don't want to play, and Chelsea just took full advantage. So for all we've praised Chelsea, I think this game was majority West Ham just not showing up, which for fans must be so disappointing after a season that it's kind of been quite positive on the whole.
It has, yeah. It's been pretty positive. I think there's a couple of players in there. I think this game in particular, I thought Jared Bowen played well. I thought he was really unfortunate not to score. Obviously, he hit the bar 3 times.
Yeah, true.
And he's a player who's consistently performed this season. I think, for me, I think he's been the best player, along with Paquetá at times. who's done really well as well. And you've got to say, well, if you're looking at it, I think if you're Bowen as well this summer, you're probably looking at, he's obviously not a spring chicken anymore. He's obviously in his prime years in his career. You're probably looking at it and you're wondering what manager's going to come in, because do I want to be a part of something big, potentially, more promising? I think there'll be teams.
I think he could find himself in a lot of better Premier League teams, better equipped Premier League teams to get the best out of him as well, and where he could actually potentially win some silverware, because he deserves it. Like you said, he was one of the few players that ran and tried today. And I think West Ham's expected goals was like 0.8 for the game versus Chelsea's 4.1 or something like that. But all of that 0.8, I think, came from Jared Bowen hitting the bar, didn't it? And hitting the woodwork. So, yeah, it was literally a one-man band at times. But, yeah, disappointing for Hammers fans. And I feel for them, to be fair, because nobody wants to finish a season the way it feels like they're going to finish it at the minute. So I've just seen the breaking news that Julen Lopetegui has been confirmed as the next West Ham manager at the end of the season. So while we've been talking about David Moyes and his job being safe, I've just seen the news that Lopetegui deal's been agreed, which, to be honest, sounds like a smart move for West Ham, doesn't it? And we were saying the context of our conversation earlier seems completely different now, but Lopetegui seems like a manager who's going to have the players from the start and the budget from the start that he didn't get at Wolves, and it seems like a good match.
Yeah, big catch for them, that really. Comes with a massive reputation. I think he'll do a really good job. And you mentioned there, probably didn't get the offer to do the kind of job that he anticipated at Wolves. He's got the resources now at West Ham, so we'll see. It's quite exciting times actually for West Ham fans.
I must say, I have to feel even more sorry for David Moyes now, because this has been announced while he's still in a job. I think that's pretty gross.
It's premature, yeah. It's not nice, is it? Let's be honest.